something special, another DIY video. Today I'm going to show you how to make your own paper bows using origami. Now don't shut it off. I know that may sound like a scary thing, but it's super easy and it's super fun and it gives these really cute results. So these are some of the bows I made, just as a sample to show you. And you can get bigger or smaller depending on the size of the paper that you use. This one was made with a 3x3 paper. So you could go even smaller. My suggestion is to start with the bigger one and then get used to making the bigger ones. Like this one, which is 4x4, and this one, which is 5x5. Try making those ones first. And then when you're comfortable with those, then go with a smaller one. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So for today's DIY embellishments, you're going to need some paper. I am using this Dear Lizzie Daydreamer paper pad and this Chamel, what's this called? Paper pad. It doesn't have a name on it, but it's Chamel. Okay, so I'm going to be using some of those papers. I'm also using a bone folder, a pair of scissors, and some buttons. You could also embellish them like however you want. You can leave them plain like this, or you can add buttons. Personally, I really like the button because I love buttons, but whatever. And then when you're ready to use them on your cards, on your scrapbook pages, Project Life pages, if you like bulkier embellishments, you totally can. And they're actually not, I mean, they're not that thick if you look at it. It's a little thicker with the button, but overall not that thick. And you can fold up the edges more if you want it to be rounder. So let me show you how to do this. I'm just going to move these things aside for now, and I'm going to grab a paper. Now I had one a second ago, but I don't know what I did with it. So just pick a pattern that you like. I'm going to use this one. And cut it into the size that you want. So I'm going to start with a 6x6 bow just because I think it'll be easier for me to demonstrate to you what I'm doing. And then I'll repeat it again and show you a smaller bow. But basically it's the same step. So you want a square piece of paper, and I suggest going with the thinnest paper you can. If you have origami paper, that's probably the best thing. If you don't, you could just use like regular cardstock, but you want it to be thin because the thicker it is, the harder it is to like fold the bow. So the first thing you need to do is take your paper and fold it in half. I'm a teacher by trade, so we call this like a hot dog fold. So you're just gonna fold it in half. And try to do the best you can, and then use your bone folder to crease the edges, okay? And then you're going to unfold it and fold it the other way, which teachers call this a hot dog fold, I guess, because it's the other way. It's better with a rectangle, but whatever. So you're going to fold it that way too. And again, just use your bone folder to crease it really well. So it doesn't have to be perfect, because, I mean, I'm definitely not perfect, but my suggestion is the better you crease the edges, the easier it'll be for you to make the bow. But you want to be careful that you don't crease it too much, because then you might, some of the paper might, break and you might have it white, so you just want to be careful. Okay, so my paper's now folded in 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it diagonally both ways. So from corner to corner. And because it's a square, it fits perfectly. And again, I'm going to use my bone folder just to crease the edges. Flip it over and fold it from corner to corner the other way so that you get another diagonal crease. And again, I'm going to just use my bone folder. There we go. Okay, so when you open it up, it should look like this. You'll have a square, like 4 squares with diagonal lines. Okay, so what you want to do is with the papers, the negatives, the side you don't want showing up, you're going to squeeze these two sides in like this. So these two corners are going to come in like this. So I'm going to create a diagonal like that. Okay, so let me just show you that again. With my paper, negative side out, I'm creasing the two sides and bringing them in together so that I have a diagonal. Now I like to just reinforce the crease here on both sides just because I really want my creases to be good, but that's up to you. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to take the top point, so not the open part, the top point that's not open, and you're going to fold it down about 1/2 inch. I mean, the size doesn't really matter. I would say the bigger the paper you're doing, that's probably 1 inch, the bigger you might want that part to be. Now, if you're wondering what this part is, on the folded bow, that's actually going to be the square here. So the bigger you go, the bigger your square will be. The smaller you go, the smaller that will be. But it also needs to be the right size for the size of paper that you have. So I would say like anywhere between 1 inch to 1/2 inch. So I've folded that and I've creased it really well. And then I'm going to open that all back up again. Now you will notice now, I'm actually going to use a marker just to help you see this, that in the middle of the paper I have created a square. Okay, so what I want to do now is, this is out of the whole bow, this is probably the trickiest part, so just watch it. It took me a couple times to get it right. So the first thing I do is try to just carefully crease those edges. Again, not over creasing them, but it's already creased, just reinforcing the crease that's there. Okay, all the way around. So what you want to try to do is have your paper like this. So because I've creased it, the square is at the top and then the pieces come down like this. And I want to try to push the square in the middle down and push these papers out. Okay, so I'm going to push this down, 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 down. Okay, push it down, and these pieces are going to come in together like that. So let me show you that again because it's a little hard to, that's the hardest part. So once you get that, you should be just fine. So you've got your square, you've creased the edges, and then you're going to push in the pieces of the square so they come together in the middle like that. Okay, now crease it really well. Okay, just like that. Okay, so now you're ready to make the bow part. So I just like to make sure all of my edges are creased really well. Now what you want to do, so this is the part at the top where the square is. You want to take each of these corners up here and fold them down to the middle line. So there is a fold line here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this corner here and fold it into that. So I'm going to try to get it as straight as I can and fold it down, use my bone folder and crease it. Same on the other side, fold that corner down to the middle. Yep, and then crease the edges really well. Okay, so it'll look like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. So there's a fold line here. I'm going to fold both of these corners here into that line there. So fold down like that. Crease the edges really well and do the same on the other side. Crease the edges really well. Okay, so now it looks like this on both sides. This is the open part down here, and that's the point up there where the square is now hidden. Okay, now what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull the two flaps down here out, okay, and open it back up. So these pieces will come together like that. And if you flip it over, it'll be like you have a square there So you can start to see the bow coming together. This part is where the bow will be, and these pieces will turn into the flap, okay? So let me just show that again. Just like this. And then I'm just opening up the piece, opening the flaps up, and it'll create that little box on the other side for my bow. So now I'm just gonna make sure all those edges are creased really well, because this is gonna be the front of the bow. Now you can see that I ripped it a little bit, probably because I was turning it so much, and that's another reason why it's really nice to put a button on the top of there, but we'll get there in a minute. So, okay, so this is what I have so far, and you can begin to see the bow coming together. These two flaps I'm gonna turn in the tail now. So you want to, okay, the next thing you want to do is grab your scissors. And what you're going to be doing now is you're going to actually slice along here. You're going to cut 4 times along this edge here. Okay, so I drew a line just to show you. So I'm going to just use my scissors and trim there 4 times. Okay, 1, 2. On the next side, all the way up to the point there, 3, 4. Now, it's not perfect because I'm horrible with scissors, and these are little kid scissors, but it's all I could find because my scissors go and disappear. So now I have these 2 pieces, and I'm going to turn it over, okay? So you can see the bow part here, and then the 2 pieces that are not part of the bow, so the bottom underneath pieces, I'm going to bring together like that, okay? So I'm just going to pull them together and bring one side down. So right now I have my bow, and then down here is where the tail of the tails of my bow, these parts down here will be. I hope I'm explaining this well. I'm really sorry if I'm not. Okay, the next thing you want to do is use your scissors and cut along the tail part all the way up to the top, okay? So just hold them together and cut, 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 cut all the way up to where the square is, okay? Okay, so now I have the 2 tail pieces. Now we're going to make the tails, and the way you do this is first take one side and just fold it in, probably like, I would say like 1 inch or ½ inch in, oh, I grabbed the bow part, whoops, my bad, and just fold those in. Okay, just like that. And then these points down here, you're going to want to fold too. You're just going to fold towards that other fold that you just made. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, so now it's going to look, it looks sort of messy, but that's okay because the back, once you glue it down, you're not going to be able to see. And when you turn it over, the tails actually look a lot nicer. I like to finish them off by just cutting them into a point to help them look like finished. You don't have to do that because this doesn't look that bad. I just like to do it because I feel like it finishes the bow well. So I just cut from one side into the middle, and then from this corner into the middle again. Okay, take out the excess. There we go. So again, from the outside corner into the middle, and then from the inside corner up to that point, and there you go. I've got my cute little tails, just pulling out that extra, and that part I can just throw out or save it for another project, I guess. Okay, so you pretty much have your bow complete, except for these pieces don't look like a pretty bow. So let's finish that part. So flip your bow over, and what you're going to do is start on one side, and you're going to fold both of these pieces in towards that middle crease line there. So you'll see on this side, I've drawn the line there for you. On the other side, there's a fold line too. Okay, so I'm going to fold both pieces in towards that fold line, trying to make it as nice and neat as I can, because this is the part you're actually going to be able to see. Use my bone folder just to make it look good. And again, fold the other piece same into that fold line. There, of course I can't do it on camera. It doesn't look nice on camera. And crease it again. Okay, so now it's made a point. On the other side, do the exact same thing. Fold both sides into the fold line that I just drew for you. And use your bone folder to just reinforce those edges, just like that. Okay. Okay, now flip your bow over, and it looks a little funny because it's pointed like that. One more step and you're done. Each of these pieces on the edge here, you're gonna fold over and fold into the little square that's here. So fold it over and tuck it underneath. There's not a lot of space, but you can tuck it just as much as you need. Again, fold it over and tuck it into the square. So the reason you want those pieces that you had folded on the other side to be really nice is because that's gonna show up. So there you go, you have your bow. Now I like to just add a little piece of glue on the bottom here just so that the tails like sit nicely. And I really like adding a button to the center. Let's see, I think I like the gray button, yeah. And I just put a little dollop of glue with my hot glue gun and stick down my button. And there you go, you've got a really cute bow. So this is the 6-inch one, that's 5-inch. So you can see it gets smaller each time. 6, 5, 4, 3, this is the 3-inch one. Okay, look at that. So it was pretty easy to make that. It took about 10 minutes. So let's make one more just so I can show you how to do it again. And then I'm gonna shut off the camera for a little bit, make a whole bunch more bows, and then come back and show you what they look like, the finished product. So let's try one more. So let me show you one more time how to make a paper bow. So take your paper, fold it in half. Using your bone folder, crease the edges. Unfold your paper and fold it the opposite way, in half. Using your bone folder, crease it. Open it up. So now your paper is divided in 4. Now you're going to fold it in half vertically both ways. From point to point. Using the bone folder to help you. Open it up, do it again the other way. Okay, so now your paper is folded in 4 and it's folded diagonally both ways. Now we're going to bring in these two outer edges together to make a diamond. Okay, I'm just going to crease the edges again just to make sure it's good and creased. Now we need to make the top of the fold into the square that will be on your bow. This part here. So you fold it down however far you think. I'm going to fold it down about 1 inch. Okay, now that you folded that, you're going to unfold the whole thing and you will see a square in your fold lines. So now you want to reinforce the folds on the square that's in the middle. You can do that by just pinching the paper together. Okay, so now you can really see the square in the middle. Now the next step is the tricky one, but once you get it, it'll be a lot easier. We're going to try to push the square down while folding the edges in. Okay, so push it and bring those edges in. Okay, so now it should look like that with the square folded in like that. Okay. Our bow is coming together well, so we're almost there. Now remember, each of these top edges, you're gonna fold into the center fold line there. Okay, so you just bring that corner in, fold it in, crease it down, use your bone folder to help. Bring it in, bone folder again. So it should look like that on the front side. I'm gonna flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Perfect. Okay, so now we're ready to open it back up. And when you open it up, the square part in the middle will become the middle of your bow. Just push that down, flip it over, and there you go. You can see the bow starting to form. Here's the bow in the middle. That's the center square part that you find here. Okay, now you need to grab your scissors. And you're going to be cutting along all of these 4 edges here in the middle of the fold. And you're going to come all the way up to the point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now all of those edges are, oh, I missed one. I was counting too, and I counted one edge twice. Okay, so now it'll be cut there. Okay, now you're going to bring the 2 tails of your flap together. Okay, so now the front of your bow should look like this. You've got the bow across there and the tail down here. Now, if you're having trouble folding the tail, I wanted to give you a tip. You can just grab a little bit of hot glue and stick 1 dollop of glue on each of these corners, and it'll make folding the tails easier. I'm gonna put one on this corner here too. Just put a little bit. Okay, perfect. Then using your scissors, you're gonna cut straight from this bottom corner all the way up to the crease line here, right there, along this center fold line. Perfect. Now you're ready to fold the tails for your bow. Now again, in order to help you, you can just place a little bit of glue on each of these pieces together and glue those tails together, and it'll make folding it a little easier. You don't need a lot of glue, just a little bit to help it hold it together. I'm just squeezing a little tiny bit. Okay, perfect. So now my tails are ready to go. And I need to fold them so they look pretty. So I'm going to fold the 2 outer edges in about ½ inch, just like that, to about the center point. Then I'm going to fold these 2 middle points here over to meet that other side. Okay. There you go. The tails of your bow are done. Now, if you're finding that it's not sitting flat, you can use a little bit of glue just inside of here, inside the tail pieces, just to hold them down. It's not necessary, but I like to do it because I found that it makes it just a little bit easier for it to stay in place where it's supposed to. And when you're using a thicker pieces of paper, it's a little harder for the paper to stay where it's supposed to. Okay, look at that. I'm almost done. The tails of my bow are done. All I need to do is do the, oh, I need to trim the tails too. So you're going to cut it into a point, do it however you like. You might want to just cut diagonally across. You can do that too. So let's do that on this one. Just for something a little different. To finish off the bows, you're going to fold each of these edges into the points. 1, And you're going to do the same thing for the other side. 1, 2. Okay, there you go. Now, stick a little bit of glue along here just to help your tail stay flat. And now bring each of these edges of the bow points into the middle where the square is. So just fold that over and tuck it under. Now I find that it stays fine on its own, but if you're having trouble with those slipping out, you could just stick a glue dot or some glue in there. But I find it stays well on its own, so it's not really necessary. So stick that in there and fold it down. And that is a super cute bow that was really easy to make. You can top it off with a button if you feel like. I don't like that color. Maybe this one's cute. Little dollop of glue and the button. Okay, now I think you're ready to do it on your own, and you can make all different sizes and creations, whatever makes you happy. And they're perfect to go on your scrapbook pages, and you're ready to go. I'll see you next week with a brand new DIY embellishment tip and idea. See you then. Bye. Have a lovely day.